Hi, this is Joe again with another movie review. For the subject of this video, we're going to be discussing the 2012 James Bond film Skyfall. So it's Daniel Craig, Judy Dench. Of course, this movie of course came out on the 50th anniversary year of the first James Bond film, which was of course Doctor No, which I previously reviewed. So check out my review if you haven't seen it yet. Of course, the movie Skyfall is a standalone movie. What I mean by that is, like most of the James Bond films, and going back to the 60s, all standalone movies. They don't have any continuity at all. It's like taken out of order from the novels. And Skyfall is the original movie because, of course, since the Pierce Brosnan years, they ran out of material and they ran out of titles for the from they took from the Ian Fleming books. So of course, naturally, of course, they came up with their own title, Skyfall, which I explained how they got the title during the review. Of course, what the story starts off as is James Bond and the woman who will eventually become Miss Moneypenny at the end of the film. They go on this mission to get a uh, drive or flash drive that's been stolen from MI6. Because somebody hacked into the MI6 files and has a copy of it. So Bond goes into, played by Daniel Craig, goes in to get the files back, and of course he falls into the river. His body was, of course, in the movies never found. Remember he was alive. He did survive falling into a river and missed money, and of course the files were never really recovered. And the person who stole the files happened to be a former agent who got betrayed by M, played by former Oscar winner Judy Dench. It would become her last time that she would play M in a Bond film. There's been I think like a six or seven different um, a seventh Bond film. And what happened was that the former agent got stuck, went on a mission. It was like a life or death thing, and she saved one agent, but not him. So he wants to get revenge on MI6, and after stealing the files, he hacked into the MI6's computers and MI6 headquarters, and the whole building blew up because it had explosives in there, and the whole MI6 building blew up. Meanwhile, they went to a secondary backup headquarters with such an event. It had to be an underground base, and Bond came back from the dead pretty much, and he wasn't in the physical shape as he was previously because his eyesight is gone because of his injuries. Uh, but M covered for him because M felt that she needs him because she knows that he's the best agent they have, and the only one who could save her and protect her is James Bond. No one else could do it but him. That's how much trust M has in him, Bond. Even though Bond is not up to shape, and the bureaucrats in the British government says, "Hey, he can't do it anymore." Um, I said, "Yeah, he can do it. I've seen the test. He can do it. I tested it myself. He can uh, do the job like he used to. Even though we know that he can't, and M cover up for him. So he does protect her as the villain. I'm sorry, I forgot the guy's name. Um, Comes hunting her down, and it's like, oh, and instead of being a smoking hot Bond girl like Anna Blackman or uh, Maud Adams or Barbara Bach or some of the other previous Bond girls who were smoking hot women. I don't consider Judi Dench a smoking hot woman, and she became the Bond girl in this film, which is kind of a nice twist considering with all the other Bond women or be models or former beauty pageant contestants or whomever. This time it's Judi Dench, a former Oscar winner. So So it's kind of funny that Bond is protecting it, and they had this great sequence in the tunnels of London during on the subway in London, and we had the big confrontation in which the villain actually does get captured purposely so he can have a better chance of killing M. But of course, doesn't Bond figured out what the villain was up to, got M out of there, and with the help of a younger Q, which it was the first movie we actually had the Q character in terms of the Daniel Craig Bond movie. So it's the first time we actually had Q and Moneypenny in this film, and they actually have a black actress playing Moneypenny, which is also a first in the James Bond series. And they have a black actor for a good chunk of the movies, except I think except to Pierce Brosnan films. He had most of the films he had Lois Maxwell played it, who since passed away, unfortunately. So you had to have a new actress, and figure, oh, put a black person, hire a black actress in there, so you can have more color in the movies. But which is the case in a lot of things from liberal Hollywood, even though those movies were made in England. But even then, because liberal, oh, we gotta put a black person in there, so you can have the black audience. That's basically why. I know I don't want to say make it a racial thing, but it's true. Um, anyway, they protect M. Brown got M out of the headquarters of MI6 and brought him to Skyfall. Now, Skyfall happens to be James Bond's childhood home, which has never been introduced in any of the Bond movies. I know that a couple of the earlier Bond films, I know the very first Bond movie with Dr. No and Sean Connery, you saw Bond's apartment, and I think also the first Bond movie that you have with Roger Moore, Live and Let Die, which I have a review. You also see Bond's apartment there in that movie as well. So you didn't know that Bond had an actual childhood home, and the name of the estate was Skyfall, and he purposely set an electronic trail. So he asked Q to set up an electronic trail so that it would be easier for the villain to trace him to Skyfall, so he could set everything up, so he could kill this guy. Because the only way to end this thing was to kill the villain. Which, of course, major spoiler, it does happen. But the consequence of the whole estate burning down to the ground, and the helicopter which the villain came in to land in the estate also gets caught in the fire and blows up. But meanwhile, the villain does get his revenge on M, played by Judi Dench, because he ends up shooting her, and of course she dies by her injuries. And he did have this big funeral scene for her, and I think, and as I remember, because I only saw the movie once, that he didn't play a videotape before Will, it's going to a Bond and everything else, and she left something for Bond on final instructions and stuff like that from Bond. And meanwhile, the bureaucrat who was all over M, Julie Dench's M, was played with Ralph Fiennes, who of course was famous for being in Schindler's List and the remake of Red Dragon. He took over MI6, and now he is the new M, and which is a change because they made a whole big deal with Judi Dench. She originally played M in GoldenEye. We finally got a woman playing M, and so I guess people get tired that she's becoming more like a mother type instead of being James Bond's superior. And of course, she did used to get on his case, but not as much as, let's say, Bernard Lee. When Bernard Lee played M, because of course he was the quintessential M in the James Bond films, because he was in, I think, at least half the movies, I think. And when she got killed off, Ralph Fiennes. And of course, at the end of the movie, it did have the set, or it looks like the original, like a remake of the original set of M's office from most of the, at least half of the James Bond films. until at least to when Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan took over. They remade M's Office for those movies. But it looks like they went back to the 1960s Bond films with M's Office, the way the door was, the padded door, and you have Miss Moneypenny just outside in her desk. Because now Miss Moneypenny stopped doing field work and became the new secretary for M. And of course you have Miss Moneypenny where she was, and you have M being played by a male actor instead of a woman. And of course you have Q. You brought back the Q character, which of course thankfully they got rid of John Cleese. John Cleese played M during I think at least 3 of the movies that Pierce Brosnan was in. There is Llewellyn, who played Q for most of the films, decided to retire from the part, and of course after he made his last movie, I think it was Tomorrow Never Dies, he ended up passing away, and so you had John Cleese for the last 2 Pierce Brosnan films, and of course when Daniel Craig took over the role, you didn't have Q, you didn't have Moneypenny. In the first 2 films that Daniel Craig has done, which I haven't reviewed, I've seen, but I haven't fully seen. Uh, the first movie Daniel Craig did, and I have seen Quantum of Solace, but I haven't obviously haven't done a review on it yet. But I think Skyfall was, even though it was the first time I really seen Daniel Craig playing the role, I thought it was quite an impressive story. It was, but it was way too fast for the action, and it has to build up the action scenes. Like one big action sequence after another, and not so much developing a plot. I like my Bond movies that develop a plot first, and then eventually build up to a big action scene at the end. With maybe little smaller size action scenes throughout the film, but this one's like one big action sequence after another, and that's what's been happening in a lot of the Bond films in the last, let's say, 20 years since Pierce Brosnan took over the part. I like, a plot in the beginning, and then of course eventually action scene after action scene. But I like my Bond movies have like a plot. That's why a lot of the earlier Bond movies I actually like the first couple Bond films, because at least those movies have a plot to it. This one, it's like huge action scene, chase scene. The villain chasing M, Bond protecting her, and that's what I got out of it. But I wish that the movie had more of a reason why this guy was hunting M. And they do explain things. They explain like more than halfway through the movie why the guy was going after, the villain was going after M. But I wish that came back a little bit earlier so it would build up the tension more and more throughout the film. I did like the sequence in the trains, in the tunnels. I did like the sequence in the house, because I actually felt the tension going on, and the worry about the characters, and the worry about Emma, the worry about Bond, if Bond's going to beat this guy, or how he's going to beat this guy all by himself without any help from MI6. I'm surprised that the whole MI6 was not protecting M, which was films. The whole problem the Bond films was that Bond had to do everything pretty much by himself. You didn't have Felix Leiter there. You did have Felix in the other 2 movies that Daniel Craig was in, but he was not in this one, and they had to have a black guy playing Felix Leiter. I mean, again, to have instead of being an all-white cast, you had to bring in a black actor to play Felix Leiter. You had to play a black actress to play Moneypenny. So this is one of my pet peeves, but chasing the ethnic of the characters. I mean, it's changing from white to black or male to female. I'm getting tired of this nonsense from Hollywood. And for the movie studios, for changing the skin color of the characters, and of course changing the character who's been traditionally a male actor or a male part to a female character. I mean, I'm tired of this nonsense. And of course, unfortunately, they're doing it in the Bond movies. But in terms of Skyfall, I do recommend Skyfall. This is definitely one of the better films I've seen in a while for James Bond. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw a decent Bond movie. Um, and Daniel Craig is himself. I think he is, unlike the other actors who played the part over the years, who put a little extra carrying, at least a couple of good lines, a good singers, and at least a line where you get a laugh out of it. Daniel Craig is way too serious. Um, he might have a good line, here and there, but of course, there's one line. Of course, you're not going to hear from James Bond, and at least the Daniel Craig Bond is when Vodka Martina shaking and not stood, because in the original books, he never had a vodka martini. That just came about through the movies. Uh, but since they rebooting the whole James Bond series with Daniel Craig, starting with Casino Royale, that was the movie you could remember. Casino Royale, they took out the vodka martini routine. And I wish you would go back to saying Bond, James Bond, more in these films. But who knows? I know they did Spectre. I have not seen it, so please don't look for it or ask me to do it. Um, because honestly, I haven't seen it. And that's now catching up with Daniel Craig Bond films now. So that's my review of the movie Skyfall. Please click on the video, please rate it, please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. And please, you can check out all of my videos not only on my YouTube channel, but at rallyc.com. That's all WDY, C.com. There's a homepage for the Rally Reviewer. Christy Moore, please check out all of his videos, all of his content on there, his TV trash videos and so forth, plus all of his other content on his website. He really does a great job on his reviews as well. Please check him out. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.